Hi, Arlin. Okay, I'm on a walk right now, and like 3 months ago, I was talking with a friend about my spiritual journey and my journey to happiness and how I stopped being depressed and how I got rid of my anxiety, and I'm just a super happy, grateful person now. And I was talking to her about that, and I was like, you know what? You know who like started this whole journey for me? And she was like, who? And I was like, I got it from looking at a party video. Like, I was watching your Boulder party video because I was trying to decide where I wanted to go to college, and I wanted to go to Boulder. So I watched that, and then I started watching your other videos because I was like, oh, Arlen's kind of cute. Like, I should watch his videos. And like, he parties. But then I found out you don't even drink, which is like so amazing because I don't drink now either. And it really like planted a seed, I think, in my mind. Like, even though it took me a few years to plant a seed that like you don't need to drink to have fun. Anyways, that's not even the thing. So I watched the videos, then I watched one of your videos where you recommended books to read, and you recommended the 5-second rule, which definitely changed my life. You recommended the 4 agreements, and you recommended something else, but I don't remember what. But the 4 agreements I read, and I was reading it, and I wasn't totally understanding it because I wasn't really on that level yet. I was like very caught in like negative thought patterns and very depressed, and I kind of hated life, honestly. So I read the 4 agreements, and in the 4 agreements there's this page. I can send you a picture of it if you care. I don't know, I think you will, because this is like crazy. There's a page where I wrote, I just like this, it just like came to me like all of a sudden I just wanted to write, and I didn't have a journal or anything. So I just started writing in the book, in the lines. And I don't even remember because I haven't read it in a while because it was like 3 years ago. But it's like, I know that I'm gonna like change the world. Like, I don't know what I'm even saying right now. I don't know where this is coming from, but I have this like intense energy of like excitement and gratitude and like motivation right now, and like so I wrote that. Then I just kind of like fell back into my negative patterns for like a while, but I continued to read like the 4 agreements, and like from the 4 agreements I got other book recommendations like The Power of Now. Wait, you recommended The Power of Now? Holy shit. Okay, then you literally are the reason for all of this, because sorry, this is such a long video. When I read The Power of Now, I was living in New Zealand by myself after a friend ditched me and didn't come with me, and I was 18 years old, and I was reading The Power of Now, and I like had this moment of realizing that all of the pain that I had been experiencing my entire life, and right in that moment, because I was really upset about something, was all just created. Like, I was literally creating all of it, and I just realized that like my mindset completely changed. I snapped out of it and started laughing, and I was like, what the fuck, this life is literally so beautiful. I was in New Zealand, I was sitting by this lake, and I was feeling so sad, so depressed, so angry, so anxious, so worried, and then I just like was reading The Power of Now, and I just like snapped, like something just clicked, and my life just changed. And like since then I've been on this 3-year journey of just like reading and learning about myself and meditating and setting goals, and now I know that I can change the world. I know that I can do anything. I'm so grateful for my life, and I just trace that back to you. So thank you so much for sparking that in me. You really have changed lives, and if there's anything, I don't know, like, that's such an accomplishment. Your videos are awesome, but you changed my life. And you're amazing, and thank you so much. Keep it up. Keep following your dreams. Thank you. I was gonna write that out in a letter, but I didn't. I was like putting it off because I couldn't figure out how to write that in a letter. So then I was just like, why would I not just send him a video right now in the moment while I'm thinking about it? Thank you, Arlin. So much love to you. You're changing lives. You're changing the world. Keep following your dreams, because following your passion aligns you with everything that you need. Much love. Bye.
If you want to be on this podcast, go to mindsetdesign.com/askarlin, and you can ask a question as well as get assigned to a coaching session with one of my Maxi coaches. This is completely free, and I'll be doing this definitely all of January. I'm excited to dive deep with each of you and see if we can, make you and the world a better place. That's what this is all about.
Welcome to the Mindset Design Podcast with your host, Arlin Moore. In this podcast, the hope is to provide the listener with actionable advice and inspiration to inspect their own mindset and make the changes they need to achieve success and fulfillment in their own life. If you'd like to support the show and learn more about mindset design, visit mindsetdesign.com or go to who.be/Arlin. That's hoo.be/Arlin. Or simply share an episode with a friend. That would be fire. Enjoy the show, and here's your host, Arlin.
Welcome back to the Mindset Design Podcast. This is your host, Arlin. This one, guys, I'm actually recording on video as well. So if you want to tune in, just go to the title of this podcast on Mindset. Just go on YouTube and type in Mindset Design Arlin Moore, and you'll find it. Happy January 4th. It's a really good morning. Let's just say I had a really good morning today, and I'm in a really good mood. I've already worked out. I've got my I don't even know what this is. Is it beet juice? I think I threw out the cap, but it's a really good flavor Erewhon cold pressed juice. I've got a water. I've got my questions in front of me, and I'm very happy today. So I hope you're having a good day too. And right now, we're just going to pop right into Ask Arlin. This is, I believe, episode 5 at this point, and I'm really enjoying doing these. So this is the first one I'm doing with video. We're going to start off today by talking to Max. What's up, Max? Max, Maxwell_Diamond21 asks, how do you overcome social anxiety and not let little things bother you and make you less productive? So let's talk about social anxiety and what it actually is. Now, social anxiety is actually something that I experienced. However, it was more so, at least how I came to understand it, it was more so just anxiety that would happen when you're around people. But I would still get anxiety when I'm not around people too. So it was kind of, I guess you could call it social anxiety because it happened when I was in social settings, but it also happened when I wasn't in social settings. I just had all the anxieties, I guess. So what actually is it? Anxiety to me is essentially, and I think the first step, Max, to overcoming anxiety is understanding what it is. Anxiety is basically an unexamined life, okay? And I think it was, I'm going to get the actual quote, but I think it was Socrates, unexamined life quote. Yeah, it was Plato. Plato says the unexamined life is not worth living. And so what that means, I'm not telling you that your life is not worth anything. I'm just telling you that if you would like to overcome anxiety, if you would like to overcome social anxiety, you need to start examining your life. Well, what does that mean? Well, the best way to overcome anxiety is to sit still and do nothing. Which sounds like, isn't that like the easiest thing? Like, there's no like intense process. I mean, look, I'm going to share with you some processes that you can do that will help you have big results. But the biggest thing you need to do is actually just sit down and do nothing. That's it. Because what's going to happen when you do that, and my recommendation is a minimum of 30 minutes of doing nothing in the morning and 30 minutes of doing nothing in the afternoon. Now, your mind might go a couple places when I say that. You might go, oh, I don't have time for that. I have school, I have work, I have blah, 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 I have this. It's like, no, you have the time, okay? And as the Buddhists say, if you don't have 10 minutes a day to meditate, you really need 2 hours. So I say if you don't have 30 minutes in the morning and 30 minutes at night, then you really need 3 days of silence. You need to sit in a room and not do anything for 3 days, or you could go out into nature. And what's going to happen is when you do that, you're going to get super fucking uncomfortable. Your mind is going to start going haywire. It's going to want to check your phone. It's probably going to get anxious. Your heart might start beating fast. You'll experience everything you experienced during probably a panic attack. However, this is the key process you need to allow your body to go through to basically get to a point where over time, and again, it's not going to happen overnight. The first time you do this, it's going to be incredibly difficult. But you do this for a week straight, 2 weeks straight, 3 weeks straight. If you're committed to actually overcoming anxiety and social anxiety, this will do it. Like, that's it. That's all you have to do. So I guess my ultimatum to you, Max, is if you want to overcome social anxiety, sit down for 30 minutes in the morning and 30 minutes in the afternoon. If you want to do a silent retreat, I would actually recommend that. Like, just tell your parents, tell your friends, tell your work, whatever, that you're going to take 1 to 3 days of just silence and allowing the shit that you have never examined, that's been festering in your mind and in your body, to come to the surface and basically release, and what you're doing is you're avoiding it. So all this stuff's coming to the surface and you're distracting yourself from dealing with it. You aren't dealing with the shit that you've gone through, okay? And that's what's causing the anxiety. It's basically like you've left the refrigerator open in your body. Like, it's just open. And you don't realize that the dinging is going off, right? And it's just going ding, ding, ding all the time. And then the refrigerator's like running out of gas and making you super anxious and making your food smell and go bad. You have to sit in silence, hear the refrigerator ding, and then take out all the food, the bad food, put some new good food in there, literally and metaphorically, and at that point you can close the fridge and you'll be good. It's also kind of like you're just not checking your email and you're subscribing to all this spam, and every single day your email is just getting plugged with all this bad stuff, annoying email subscriptions. And you can't even check your email for the good news because it's only filled with like spam. And every time you try to, check your email, you get overwhelmed because you see all this spam. Well, what you have to do is sit still, go into your email inbox, unsubscribe to all, look at actually the negative things coming in, acknowledge them, and just by acknowledging them, you can basically unsubscribe from those email lists of negativity. Acknowledge them, realize they're there, accept that they're there, and at that point, you can move beyond. You can close the fridge. You can get to a point where your inbox is at 0. And then, when new messages come to you, you can look at them and say, does this serve me? Is this thought inspired? Is this thought out of fear? Is this thought out of insecurity? Or is this thought something good? So sitting in silence, something I do every single day. I've been doing it every single day for years now. It's the number one practice that has changed my life and made my life better and made my life more abundant, next to Maxie, of course. So, Max, here's the ultimatum I give you. If you want to get rid of your social anxiety, your anxiety in general, do what I just told you to do. If you want to keep your social anxiety, then just don't do any of that. Just, don't listen to me. And I promise you, if you just ignore this message that I'm giving you, you just will have anxiety continuously. So you have two options. One, you can get rid of it, or two, you can just not and still have it and live with it. So it's up to you, really. I'm not telling you to do anything. Do whatever you want, but that's basically the short answer. Now, the other answer is you can go into a little bit of mental reprogramming. So what I do with Maxie, and you can go and join Maxie, it's the price of a salad every month, mindsetdesign.com/home. And this is a way you can learn to, because your brain is basically like a computer, and it's being programmed by all the messages that you're consuming on a daily basis. So what I do with Maxie is I teach you how to program yourself in the quickest, most effective, most enjoyable path toward your life that you really want to live. It's something that even I still use. I created it for myself. And that's why I'm in such a good mood today, to be honest, because I use it. And I've been using it all year. And what it is going to do for you is teach you how to basically take, it's going to basically teach you how to go with the email analogy, how to subscribe to only the positive things, only the things that you want in your inbox. It's going to teach you how to only put the most healthy, food that makes you feel the best. That's what it's going to do, almost on autopilot. You really don't even have to do that much, except watch a 30-minute a 30-minute training that's included in it, and then use it for 5 to 10 minutes per day. That's it. So, I mean, another way you can start to do that, if you really don't want to spend the price of Netflix per month on a product or tool that could literally change your life and make you like Thanos and make reality whatever you want, is you can just gratitude journal in the morning. And at the end of the day, you can write down, your wins. And then on another piece of paper, you can just make a list of everything you actually want in life and review that list as often as possible. And then do the meditation. That's really the secret to life. If you want to pick up the controller that allows you to do whatever you want in life and reality, it's sitting there right in front of you. I'm giving you the answers. You just have to do it. That's it. It's pretty simple. Now, you also said your second part of the question, Max, was how do I overcome social anxiety, not let little things bother me and make me less productive? Yeah, so one thing that happens when you meditate is it kind of hits multiple birds with one stone, actually. But it's going to, like what happens when you sit there for 30 minutes or even a full day is all these little things come into your mind, those little things that normally bother you, and you realize that they just don't matter. Like, they just don't matter. They kind of like, what happens is the deeper you go into meditation, the more often you do it, you get deeper and deeper into what actually does matter. And so the little things are kind of like, it's like, for example, I just saw a notification pop up on my phone. If I didn't meditate, I probably would have checked it, right? But because I meditate, I can just see that distraction and go, no, I don't need that. I have a bunch of chocolate in my cabinet. It's healthy chocolate, and it's, good for me. But like, I'm not tempted right now to go eat it. Like, what I know I'm gonna do is eat the healthiest food that I can possibly eat during the day. And the reason I'm able to do that is because meditation has showed me what truly actually matters. It makes me remember the macro. It makes me remember the long-term trends of small positive actions. So that's it, Max. I think I've given you enough. I would re-listen to this segment and just kind of maybe take notes and go do that. That's what I would recommend doing. And then, of course, enjoy your call with the Maxi Success Coach that you get assigned to. And perhaps I'll pop on and say what's up, because I obviously relate to social anxiety stuff. All right, next question's coming in from Daniel DeMonte. Don DeMonte 926 asks, how do you maintain a sense of drive among a sea of self-doubt? I feel like every question I could just be like, oh, just meditate. That's just pretty much it. I mean, I guess the next thing I would go into here is I would recommend, sorry, that was actually something I actually needed to check for work because I saw it was a Slack notification for my team. That's funny. But how you overcome social anxiety how do you maintain a sense of drive against a sea of self-doubt? Well, what you have to do with self-doubt, aside from meditation, and this can actually happen with social anxiety as well, is you do what's called fear neutralization. Now, fear neutralization is basically looking at, in your past, what events happened that you are, like, specific memories that you have that you think are basically causing the self-doubt. So, like, what happened in the past where you tried to do something and it failed? And because it failed, and because you maybe felt emotions like embarrassment or just feeling like a failure, because you felt those emotions, you now don't want to feel those emotions again, so you're preventing yourself from trying, and you can't be driven because you have this, quote, sea of self-doubt. So what is that coming from, and how do you overcome that? Fear neutralization. So what you have to do is look at that fear from the past, and basically be like, okay, understand this. Every situation that happens, for example, this situation you're in right now, this present moment, let's draw you into the present. This is a neutral situation. You might think this is good, right? Because you're learning and you're self-development, right? You're listening to a podcast. But this is not necessarily even good. This is just objectively the present moment. It's neither good nor bad. I'm sure actually you could probably think of reasons that this is negative. But our mind likes to categorize things as good or bad when in reality the present moment is all there is and there is no judgment of it. Things just are, simply are. There just is isness. There is no this is good and this is bad. So when you look into your past at those situations that you failed in and caused you self-doubt, what happens is you are viewing them as negative. And because you're viewing them as negative, what's happening is you are essentially, they aren't negative, is what I'm saying. You're calling them negative, but they aren't. They're just present. They just are. So what you have to do, Daniel, is write down all the specific events, the specific memories. Write down as many as you can think of that cause you now to experience self-doubt. Maybe you tried out for a sports team and didn't make it. Maybe you tried out for the band and didn't make it. Maybe you raised your hand in class and got the answer wrong. Write out as many of these really embarrassing or moments in your life where you failed. And instead of viewing them as negative now, what I want you to do is list out all of the reasons that these are actually positive. What are all the benefits of this thing that you perceived as negative actually happening? So for example, let's say you got cut from the band team. Well, maybe you got cut from band and that was really embarrassing. You got made fun of a little bit, but it drove you to get really good at football. Because you weren't good at band, you got really good at football, and you became the kicker for your high school team, and then that brought you into college. And then after college, or then in college, you got into the college of your dreams. You had a lot of fun in college, and now you have your, a job that you really like, and you're listening to this podcast and you're happy. So you can trace back benefit after benefit after benefit after benefit of a situation in your past, which you first, before listening to this podcast, thought was negative. Now you can view it as positive. Isn't that cool? I mean, you can just reframe everything. And then what I want you to do, Daniel, is I want you to look at that same event and think about what if it happened the way that I wish it happened. So let's say, for example, you wish you made the band team. Well, what would have been all the negatives of that? Well, the negatives of that would be you would have done band and you never would have gone to football practice, and you never would have made the friends that you made in high school in football. And then, and I know this is kind of a funny example, but I think you get the point. You need to list out all the potential negatives that you had of that fantasy that you had in your mind of how you wish it was. And that will neutralize it. Now, in addition to this, and by the way, you need to do this. This is like a consistent practice. This is not a one-time thing. You need to do this over and over, because often self-doubt is something you really need to unpack and actually go do deep work and over and over and over again, be disciplined enough to, every week for the rest of, the next several months, go in at least 1 hour a week and be like, okay, why do I feel self-doubt? What specific memory in my past is causing this? Identify that. It's much easier to go in, unpack the benefits of it, the drawbacks of the way you wish it went, and then ultimately neutralize it. In coupling this with meditation, your life is going to improve dramatically. Okay, last question for today is going to come in from, the name is, I'm going to pronounce it wrong. João, Joao, João Marcelo de Silva. Maybe it's Marcelo de Silva, I think, asks, I have three, J-O-A-O, how? I'm going to look that up after. I apologize. I'm going to say João. I have three main ideas that I know will bring me money in the future, but I don't know if I should focus on one that will bring on the short term or on the long term. What should I do at this moment? Well, I think, this is kind of a difficult question for me to answer right off the bat, because it's relatively general. I'd love to like get on more of a conversation with you. Again, this is why the one-on-one call that you've scheduled is going to be really helpful, because you can dive deeper into this. But I guess your question is, should I pursue something that will make me money in the short term or something in the long term? Honestly, my thing would be like, do both in a way. I think, like for example, the first long-term thing that comes to my mind is like creating a personal brand. That is a very long-term thing, but in the long term can be a massive, massive asset for you. Like my personal brand, you listening to this now, it's a long-term play. It's been a long-term play forever. However, it's such a good long-term play. I mean, in any economic recession, people who have personal brands always do well because they've been building up this following and this audience that respects them and wants them to continue making content and will always support them. Even in good times, like having a personal brand, a position where you can express and talk about what you're passionate about and share, the light of your own consciousness with the world. It's just like, in my eyes, like not much is better, right? And so what I would say, Zhao, is definitely do the long term, but in the short term, like for example, there's no reason you can't have a couple sources of income. And don't get me wrong, I'm all for focusing and making progress in, like one thing at a time, right? I'm all for that. However, if you have something that can make you money in the short term, I think, there's no reason you can't do that as well. For example, when I was building my YouTube channel, I had a job. I was working on an e-commerce store for someone, like remote. They needed help, and they were paying me $15 an hour to work on their store, manage Facebook ads, and run the Shopify store. So I was doing two things at once. I think that's definitely possible. I would basically work during the day and then do personal brand at night. So I had my short-term money that was basically allowing me to live. And this is also a massive thing. Like a lot of people listening to the show I know have parents who aren't quite as supportive of them like pursuing their personal brand as they are. So what I would say is like definitely definitely like get a job and then do your TikTok dream, grow your YouTube channel on the side. So your parents say, okay, Zhao is making money, he's got his job and he's doing this YouTube thing. Who knows what's going to happen with it? I don't know if that's where you wanted to take this, Zhao, but that's the most I can gather from your question. Okay, that's it for today's podcast. I hope you guys have a great day. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next episode.